Hello everyone. Welcome to my retrospective. We just finished episode 20 of Final Fantasy 7R. A couple of things have happened since the last time I did a retrospective, so I just kind of want to go over what has happened, what has changed, what we learned. First of all, one of the biggest changes, neither Barrett or Tifa has changed a lot since my last retrospective, so I'm not really going to be talking about them. But I will say that Cloud, I think it's really cute the way that Cloud is being softened by Aerith. The whole, obviously giving a 3 gil, mercenary contract, and also to a certain extent, putting, because it was very, very obvious in the most recent episode that he was very intentionally, coming out and trying to charge an outrageous sum in order to force this guy that was, bad dogging his own health and being like, I just can't move around anymore, these legs, be like, just go walk. Stop acting like you can't. Understand where your boundaries are, but Cloud realized he was underselling his boundaries and letting his injuries get in the way of what he really wanted to do. So he's being more and more human, he's thinking about other people more, and it's definitely happened since he met Aerith. And I think the reason why that is because to a certain extent, although it's not really her fault, Tifa forces Cloud to continue to back up and reassert the lie, the ex-soldier story, whereas Aerith 1,000% should figure out that he's associated with the explosion in the Mako reactor. She already has a negative idea of the Turks in general, so the fact that he opposes them, she doesn't really care about super much. But, she still knows that he's got, a background, but she does not want to see him as, being dangerous and being a badass and being this tough mercenary. She kind of softens him and wants him to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because he's making money off of it. And the more time he spends with her, the more like that he's becoming. I really like that a lot. In original Final Fantasy VII, one of the things that I always really disliked was how Cloud kind of goes from this badass mercenary, I'm only in it for the money, to running around the world and trying to save it from Shinra without a whole lot of backing as to why he made that decision. It just sort of an hour in, he just fundamentally changes the way that he looks at himself. And this is giving a lot better backing for why that actually occurred. Jessie, obviously since the last episode, we had our pseudo date with Jessie where we went up topside, met her parents, at least saw her parents. And overall, I really, really like that both Biggs and Jessie have a lot more background. I really like that they seem fully fleshed out and three-dimensional characters. That's awesome, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But, it does bother me a little bit that, prior to this game coming out, if I were to think about what Jessie's background would be, I wouldn't think aspiring actress at the Gold Saucer. That just seems to come out of fucking nowhere. How her dad is, works with Mako, in a reactor that he has to wear a, I guess, the dad didn't seem super, super associated with, bombs. So, where does that come from? Where did she suddenly become an expert in demolitions? That is her skill in the group, is the fact she's really, really good at making bombs. And I just, that doesn't really seem connected to her. It felt like they wanted a generic girl backstory, and so they just kind of gave her a generic girl backstory without really considering, what they were doing or why they were doing it. It was very odd, and I was not a fan. But overall, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. I liked going up there. I liked learning more about Jessie. I thought it was fascinating, going through that area and seeing the way the Topsiders live and really having the duality of existence kind of laid bare, if that makes sense. But I felt like the backstory we got was a generic backstory, not Jessie's backstory. The other thing that while we're on the way, that other soldier guy, I still don't know what the hell he's doing in the game. And granted, you could make the same argument that the only reason I think he's out of place is because he wasn't in the original, which is true. Because so far, I don't know what Reno or Rude are doing in the game. They haven't really done anything but show up and fight us once and be kind of like mouthy. So he fits right in with that. But I'm used to Reno and Rude. I'm not used to this guy. And I'm not quite sure, like, he's an act. It's still, I know I've talked about it before, but it's still very weird to me that Cloud can actually hold his own against a real soldier. Because unless they've changed the story significantly, Cloud's not a real soldier, and he should just get, like, mowed down. Which actually may be getting into the idea that, because the whole reunion was due to the fact that, they were trying to take people and expose them to Mako at younger ages to try and make another Sephiroth, and they couldn't do it. I wonder if this game is actually getting into the idea that all soldiers are the reunion experiments, and there are some that just haven't completely lost it yet, and when they do, they just sort of like wander off. So like Shino can use them for a few years, and so, but that, because that would be interesting if like, because Cloud did go through the experiments, and that might be why he can hold his own, even though he was never really a soldier. I will say, speaking of Cloud, I'm still very, very confused why Shinra only broadcasts the bit of the holovid showing, like, Barrett, Biggs, Wedge, and Tifa, getting in. They did not show the part where Cloud comes out of the pipe, and I don't 1,000% understand. My best guess, if I'm trying to make it logical, is because Cloud fell to his finger quotes death, after the, like, during the big boss fight, whereas the other ones are still at large, so they're like, well, we don't need to include this other guy because he's dead already. We don't need to find him. But it seems super, super, super convenient in a way that doesn't make a huge amount of sense. I'm still not 100% sure what the ghosts that fly around are. They've been a little bit helpful from time to time. I almost wonder if they are like the members of the reunion that have previously been killed, like just in wandering around, they died, and they're drawn to other members with those reunion bits, and they want to help, they want to move them towards where the reunion is happening, is my best guess, but I don't know. And lastly, I'm still just really confused why the idea that Avalanche just has other cells hanging out. Like, that makes no sense to me, and I don't know where it's coming from, because that's again a thing that this game just sort of invented out of nowhere. The idea that Avalanche is this sprawling organization with a lot of different cells, not just Barrett's pet crew. And if that's the case, how come, like, the only reactors getting blown up by... Although they did say that Barrett's cell was considered the most extreme, and the other cells weren't really going in for exploding reactors. So I guess that does make more sense. Regardless, though, I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we continue on Tuesday.